Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. I'm a professional intuitive empath, and today I want to talk to you about something that my angels have put on my heart at least a month ago. This is in January. I started doing some research for this verbiage particularly, the word energy vampire. Now, we are all familiar with narcissists in this community. A lot of people come to these videos and videos like these on YouTube to have help and aid in narcissistic recovery. We are all trying to figure out and heal ourselves from our trauma bonds, our codependency, our enmeshments, right? And specifically, if you are an empath, you will find that you may have been subject to this kind of behavior, unhealthy and toxic behavior, by people that really didn't mean you any good. Now, the reason that this video is existing tonight specifically is due to Miss Alice Kizaz. I don't want that. Kizaz. I don't want to say that wrong, but she was a literal angel, earth angel that came into my life today and left me a beautiful comment. And I asked her, I said, thank you for that energy, but what can I do for you? You know, she's an empath. I'm an empath. We're always going to be trying to lift each other. And I wanted to know what could I do for her. And she gave me this great question. And this is really a beautiful follow-up to this thing that my angels had asked me to work on. It's so interesting. Usually when I get an idea for a video, I will make it within 24 hours because it's fresh. I'm being downloaded. I'm personally walking through the situation. Little did I know, Alice, I'm so glad you reached out today, but little did I know, my angels were going to reveal to me something so mind-blowing, so astounding, and so eye-opening that it would make this lesson come into 3D. There's so much to unpack with what I've recently just been through that I'll probably make several videos about it because there are several subsections. But this word specifically, this word of energy vampire is something that was very interesting to me because why did I feel is that, I don't know why, but I felt like it had less of an edge of a narcissist. I would never call a person that I dealt with in my life recently a narcissist. I would never ascribe those words to that person. But energy vampire was okay with, and meaning I wasn't even okay with it. It was revealed to me recently. I know I'm talking in circles. I'm going to get here. I'm trying to be particularly discreet and make sure that I don't say any names or anything like that. So just bear with me if I'm particular here. But Alice's question, after her lovely compliment, she says, I do have a question, actually, concerning my health. She said, I am a Sagittarius and an empath, and over the years, I had attracted so many narcissists and energy vampires and damaged people. And I want to stop there and say, Alice, I really love the subsection of damaged people because that still feels less harsh than narcissist and even energy vampire. And I love the way that you ordered it. And I thought, could my person just be a damaged person? Or is she all of these things? I want you to comment below if you're watching. Alice, I'd love to hear your feedback. But beyond that, I want anybody watching this video who is an empath or has an experience with one of these people, these damaged cluster B people. We're going to get into that in a minute. And I want to know what you think. I really do, because I'm still figuring this out. This channel is called Evolve, and I ended by saying come back and we'll continue to evolve together. And right now I'm evolving through something and being shown revelations about something that I thought I had taken care of. But I'll get to that. She says, Alice says, I am afraid that I absorbed all of the negative energy, which in return led to serious back issues. I want to stop there. One of the things that I teach is always about our metaphysical connection to our physical pain. And back issues are about being not supported. Usually it has to do with financially. I would be so interested to know how you didn't feel supported by these vampires, but I mean, there are a million ways for them to leave you feeling unsupported, as you and I both know, Alice. But Back issues usually have to do with that, so it is no surprise when I read that. I thought that makes perfect sense. She says, and now I'm looking at a hip replacement surgery. She says, I'm not that old. I mean, I'm old enough to know better and to stay away from those types of people, but the damage has been done. I'm going to stop there, and I want to address that. The situation that I went through recently, when I tell you I thought I had like level achieved and unlocked and done all of my growing and had done all of my understanding about this, I had cut off so many, not that many, I'd say 3 toxic, narcissistic relationships. 2 for sure narcissist, 1 just with disordered personality, but 2 for sure. And I thought, I have figured this out. I have cracked the code. I did it over 10 years ago, even some of them 12, 13 years ago. I cut these people out of my life and kept them out of my life. And I was so proud of myself, and I was preening about, and I'm a Leo, so I was just kind of like, you know, grooming myself and preening and being like, look at me, I'm an empath who is having healthy relationships. Au contraire. Again, I'm never going to lie to you on this channel. I did not get this right. I did not get it right, but man, what a powerful lesson. That is the beauty of doing this work, is my angels, God bless my angels. I mean, God is blessing my angels. God is dispatching those angels. But my goodness, they had me sit in higher self and not in my primal self where I wanted to exist, and where I was, I mean, it was some low vibrational spiritual warfare. And they said, look above it. So we'll talk about that, Alice, but I'm going to get into it. I'm very passionate about this, if you cannot tell, because I just had it happen and I was like, oh my gosh, I missed this. I am not as good as I thought I was. It's so nice to be humbled, right? It is so nice to be humbled. So Alice continues, and she says, I mean, I'm old enough to know better and stay away from those types of people, but the damage has been done and I'm left crippled and in pain. I would appreciate any feedback and look forward to hearing from you. And so now you are hearing from me, Alice. As promised, the video is being made on this evening. So I did what I do, because I have been doing it anyway, and I did some research regarding this. Now, it's research that I'm aware about on some level, as it is a situation that I have dealt with, like I said, in the past, where I kind of extracted myself from some of these relationships, or gray rocked, or cut off, or ended. And one of the things that I want you to understand is that 25% of people have narcissistic characteristics or are full-blown cluster B personalities. And so this means sociopath and like full-blown cluster B personalities, sociopaths, psychopaths, and there was a distinction that's made. Dr. Christiane Northrup does a lot of work with this, and she says the distinction that's made between psychopaths is that we always assume a psychopath is a killer, right? And she makes a joke, and she says many psychopaths are running Fortune 500 companies. Not every psychopath is a killer. Not every sociopath is a killer. So I know that those words carry with them a heavy weight, and you would think, I don't want to ascribe that to anybody I know, and I don't want to seem like I'm stupid enough to be in a relationship with somebody that could be a sociopath, or someone that could be evil, which is another word that we ascribe if we're dealing with it metaphysically. So the thing that's interesting to know is that the DSM talks about it being 1 in 5. Okay, it's a term, and it's 1 in 5 people have this kind of disordered behavior. So you're working with them. They're your parents, they're your colleagues, they're your friends, they're your lovers, they're your ex-lovers, they're your new friends, they're your garbage van. There are people around us, you know? And as empaths, they tend to gravitate towards us, and they feed off of our life force, which, excuse me, you are very aware of, Alice, if you wrote in, the way that they feed off of the life force. I feel like, you know, another joke that she makes is that, this is something I thought was particularly interesting, we're not being chosen, we're being targeted. And I have a video, and I'll try to find and link it here, where I discuss some of my narcissistic best friendships, right? And how the people told me they fell in love with me, chose me, saw me. And Dr. Northrup said something that was particularly truthful. She says, they look at you, they target you, and they say, I love you, I pick you, I choose you. And you think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And she says, and you may not have been popular in 8th grade, and now this person who is charismatic and wonderful and beautiful and charming chooses you, and you think, I'm chosen. That was hard to hear, Alice. I don't know if that resonates for you. We're just going to have a personal convo. This video is for me and you in case nobody else watches it. That was hard to hear, but man, was it true. Now, I've always been charismatic in my own right, but no, I wasn't conventionally popular. My popularity was odd, unique. People knew me, but it wasn't for all the reasons I would have wanted, right? So, what I will say is that that truth bomb really hit me, and they love bomb you and they pull you in. So for those of you that don't understand, this is also things you might see happening with a narcissist, and they know the wounds of an empath. They can see where you need to be fed, edified, nurtured, and they'll say all the right things to you. And as an empath, you might look at them and think, oh, this is a fixer-upper. I certainly know that I have thought that I could fix and I could really help them. And some of the characteristics that you'll notice with them is the antisocial behavior, maybe being overly dramatic, maybe escaping through substance abuse, whether it's drugs or alcohol, binge drinking, the threatening to harm themselves. For some people, I've had clients that talk about people that are threatened suicide or just threatening to not want to be here on earth. They don't have a biochemical imbalance, though. I just want to give you a little background. What they have is a character problem and a character defect. The thing about it is, though, to speak to Alice's question, that character defect that you're always trying to fix, you know, imagine the bucket springing all the leaks. That character defect will literally deplete you. Now, I will let you know that there is science behind this. I'm not going to go into all of the science, but I will tell you that some of the studies that I was listening to Dr. Northrup talk about, she talked about how you were able to measure the PTSD and the energy deficits that were created with people that had lived for a long period of time with a narcissist or an energy vampire or any kind of damaged person, because you're always in a state of trying to fix them, that you're depleted. And some of the things that she talked about is that it led to chronic illness. Now for you, you're having back pain, you're having hip issues, but this is a degenerative thing that's broken down over time. I will say that some of the chronic illnesses that come up when you're dealing with this character type, IBS, Lyme disease, breast cancer, fibromyalgia, other mystery illnesses that people, now breast cancer is not a mystery illness, but some of those autoimmune deficiencies, because we are literally depleted. Now let me tell you, this blew my mind wide open. I deal with autoimmune issues in my stomach specifically, and I have for the last about 10 years. So I feel like the energy that I have been dealing with prior to definitely degenerated and helped affect that. That is my metaphysical diagnoses. It means nothing, but I now am putting the pieces together. When the student is ready, what do they say? The teachers will appear. And my goodness, have my teachers been leaping out of the woodwork. The other thing I want you to know, Alice, if I'm turning my pages correctly, is that when you are dealing with an energy vampire, the stress that they causes cellular inflammation. So you're having breakdown of your back and pain. Pain is related directly to inflammation, swelling, and the cause of it all is chronic degenerative disease. So the thing about this is that you are in a constant state of fight or flight and emotional stress, having to fix these people, the disappointments that come with trying to fix them, the negativity, the deception, the lies, the games, the triangulation. When I tell you I just went through all of that, I went through all of that, and I was watching it happen, and I was like, does this person not think that I don't know that they are creating chaos right now? But I was still in it, and I'm going to make some other videos about why I was comfortable with that, and that's a question that I want to ask you, Alice. What about your early childhood trauma? What about your narcissistic initial injury from the narcissistic parent or wherever you learned how to become an empath played into you being comfortable? In my most recent situation with this energy vampire, I found myself having a choice between my primal lower self and my higher self. I saw them trying to pull me into the drama emotionally. And there was one time where they got me. I'm not going to lie. We'll talk about that soon. But they got me. I was there. And my angel said, go up. Go up here, Monette. Don't you get down in the mud here. Why is this? What is happening? And in that person, I saw my narcissistic father. The silent treatment, the cruelty, the lack of communication, the calculated cruelty. I saw calculated cruelty in this person. I'm going to make a separate video called the soulmate scotoma, which is the blind spot. I had no idea. When I say I had no idea, and it's so weird because my angels replay back all the things that they said to me over the years about not caring enough to fight for our relationship or friendship ever. If I hadn't done it, they wouldn't have done it. About not being willing to give me a ride, as I had recently hitchhiked across a couple of states to their house, and they were like, that person that did that is insane. I would never do that for you. They let me know all the time in their actions and the missed calls, the lack of connection, all of the things, all the gaslighting. They let me know, I don't value you. And here I am teaching you guys about value, self-worth, own your stuff, narcissistic recovery. And I completely missed this, guys. I'm not even going to lie to you. I missed it. I missed it. So Alice, it wreaks havoc on your immune system because you're always trying to figure out, and it leads to this cascade of hormonal imbalances. And I believe that that's something to do with your back and hip. Not a hormonal imbalance when it comes to back and hip, but the inflammation, the degeneration of your immune system, your inability to kind of recover after this. I absolutely feel, I mean, she listed a whole litany of things, diabetes, heart disease, all of this, because when you are taking care of someone else all the time and you're giving everything to them, you don't have anything to give to yourself. And that means you're not going to cook yourself a healthy meal. You're not going to get a good night's sleep. I was so guilty of that. And it wasn't just for this one person. Some of my previous actual, who I believe were full-blown narcissists, one just drained me to life. That was one from many years ago. But I spent so much time like running in circles trying to clean up her messes. And it was so completely unhealthy. So I don't want you to feel as though this is something that's in your head. And while I do not have a solution, what I do know is that you have suffered PTSD. And I wanted to at least jump on here and acknowledge that what you had happen to you was not in your head. You are not crazy. Do not let them ever gaslight you. I know you asked the question, what do I do now? Well, now begins the prayer, the healing, the meditation. Now begins you being so circumspect and specific about who you allow in your life, because just because you think you had it licked. I mean, I'm terrified. I work in a very cloistered environment. I am home. I am so grateful and so fortunate for the life that I've built for myself. But what I will tell you is I am terrified right now, and I shouldn't be, because I feel like, who can I trust? I trusted this person. And so Alice, I just want to reach out to you, and I want to lean in, and I want to tell you, you are seen and you are loved. And I want you to keep yourself away from these people. Easier said than done. I thought I had done it. I can't believe I hadn't done it. And I was the heartbreak of it. I'm a jovial person. I am upbeat. So I'm telling you a story because I want you to stay engaged. I don't know if I'll ever make the video where I share the heartbreak of it, the crushing heartbreak, and realizing that someone that you have adored is absolutely, possibly a sociopath. I had a moment, and I'll share this with you, where I shared something with them. I conveyed my feelings, emotions, and cut my heart open, and was just as honest and vulnerable as I've ever probably been in my life with anybody. I was the most honest and vulnerable. And they looked back at me and they said, a euphemism that we used, I have no nickels for you. And that was our way of letting each other know through the day, I need some emotional support, like panhandling, nickels. And she said, I have no nickels for you. I feel nothing about what you're saying. And also, because I was holding her accountable for her behavior, she said, that never happened. Guys, when I tell you I was flabbergasted, absolutely flabbergasted, and taken aback, and every other word, synonym that I can come up with there, because for a moment, I remember thinking, oh, this may not have, did this happen? Am I, no. I'm a writer, guys. So I documented when these things were happening. I also had a name for it when it happened. I also called prayer warriors before I went to visit with this person. You would think, why would you take all of these precautions and still have a friendship with the person? Well, that's another story about soulmates and the connection and the obligation and the enmeshment and codependency and an empath's tale. Maybe that'll be the title of another video. There's a lot of things that I can say about my behavior, but what I take accountability for and what I had the revelation of and what I want you to have the revelation of, Alice, is why were you ever allowing these relationships to be a part of your life? When I saw my person standing with her back to me and I heard her gaslighting me and telling me I was reading too much into a situation that she had conjured, drawn up, she had provoked me with, provoked the other person with, triangulated. I was like, why have I never realized this? And when I saw it happening, my angel said, now go up, like I said earlier. And they said, where is this from? Why have you allowed yourself for umpteen years to be in a relationship with somebody who would treat you this way? And for me, it went right back to my narcissistic father. The revelation that was even deeper is that it went also to, on some levels with the behavior, the person that sexually abused me. And my angel said, stay right there. Stay in that uncomfortable spot. I was also dealing with some assistance from Chiron, the wounded healer. They said, stay in that uncomfortable spot and understand that all you knew as a child was how to fix things, how to people please, how to make sure that you survived in situations where you never felt wanted or loved. And so that was your baseline. And even though you've gone on to have healthy relationships with other people, you kept this one and you made a bargain with yourself, with God, with the universe, that if you just let me have this one, I will promise to fix it. I'll promise to change it. I promise to never need anything. Until one day I needed something. Empaths out there, what do you need? Empaths out there, what needs are not being met in these toxic relationships that you are allowing, myself included? Pot, kettle, I'm black. Pun intended. I'm black. I'm honest. I was caught up and I was allowing something to happen because it brought me a level of comfort. Chaotic, toxic, painful familiarity from my childhood of being ignored and punished when I said I have a need or I held somebody accountable. And it was something that had happened for years in that relationship. And I would call the person on it, but it was never, they might address the behavior, but they never addressed what they did to be in that position. Meaning, like, if they did something to me and I said, I don't like that, that crossed my boundary, and then I would be punished for it. And that was very familiar to my father. I'm not making this person the terrible person, even though the whole thing is about empaths, and energy vampires and narcissists and damaged people and the like. But I want you to understand, because that's a whole nother kettle of fish. You know, Dr. Northrup says they have no moral compass. They know exactly what they're doing. Don't feel sorry for them. I'm still working that out for myself. And so for some of you watching, you may say, you may be in a level of denial, and I welcome the feedback because I'm still working it out for myself here, specific to this case and this individual. But what I will say is that I realized in that moment, Alice, that I was comfortable in how to allow the behavior. And as long as I would allow the behavior, I was going to continue to manifest illness in my body. I was going to continue to manifest toxicity just under the surface. There were several times when I left those interactions and I came home with weird, this is like, this video is all of the things that you should never say on the internet. I came home with like a weird like abscess on my side. I've never had one in my life. And it was after a particular bout of me saying no, and then she left early after I had arranged and paid for and done all the things to make her comfortable. I had to like convince her to come. She canceled on me. Chaos, drama. I had to call her family. A whole lot of drama. All of this just to get her to spend time with me. And I know you think, how desperate are you? And I think, how desperate was I? And she left early, and I remember laying in the hotel room and thinking, what happened? All I did was gently say, I care about our friendship more than I care about this other thing, and I need that respected. But she still left me and punished me and pretended she had no idea why. She just wanted to go home early. It was whatever. It happened all the time. And I came home with that thing on my side. And the last time I was with her, I had just a bruise from my bra. And it was nothing, just a bruise. You know, sometimes your bra straps will like cut into you. And it got infected just in one little patch. And I thought, that's so weird. Well, my immune system was down because I'd just been dealing with a full, like the week that I had with her was one of the most powerful, spiritually enlightened weeks I've ever had in my life. About myself, about what I'm worth, about what I'm willing to accommodate and deal with, about somebody who never cared about me. Not ever. This person literally never cared. And I want you to understand that my body knew, Miss Alice. That's why I'm mentioning this. My body knew. And my body was like, get the toxicity out. Get the poison out. Never had any kind of infection like that, those two specific areas, and they were on my side. And so when I was looking into that, I was like, okay, I understand the metaphysical connections here. Sometimes we have to leave a situation in order to get healthy, and I want you to figure out if you are willing to allow those people back into your life, but moreover, get connected with the why. Once you know the why, I can't unsee what I saw. You know, I can't fix the relationship. I can't gloss over it. This is not a normal, healthy friendship where I can say, oh, let's talk, because you're refusing to take any accountability. So I can't unsee what I saw. And once you get to that point where you know that you have been in the clutches of a cluster B personality, an energy vampire, a narcissist, a damaged human, you can't unknow it. And I ask you to save yourself and your body. Save your life. And walk away. It's not too dramatic, guys. Save your life. The degenerative diseases, the mystery illnesses, the hurt backs, the replacements of the hip. I want you to know that you are worth standing up for yourself, and you are worth saying, I know what I deserve. I have loved you with the heat of 1,000 suns, and I do not deserve to be treated this way as an afterthought, because you can't balance anything. And I want you to release that, knowing that you did the best you could and that there were lessons to be extracted. For me, I shared some of the more painful and deeply personal lessons that I saw in her behavior with me. I realized exactly why she was so comfortable and why I was refusing to let her go. But in order for you to grow, you have to see that and know it deeply, because there will be a temptation to return. There will be a temptation to fix it. There will be a temptation to be us, empaths. And I don't want you to succumb to our kindness. I want you to stand in your power and come back. And I'm going to walk through this with you. We'll talk more about it. We'll unpack other pieces of it. But you have to stand in your power. Your health is worth it. Your life is worth it. Your future loves are worth it. You know, they say, as you sow, so shall you reap. Very biblical. And I always thought it was foreboding and menacing. Like, oh, if you're mean to people, the karma will come. Yeah, that happens. But let me tell you what I sowed into that person, that energy vampire that took and took and took and took and took. And an interesting thing before I tell you that. She looked a certain way, and I mentioned it. I said, oh, you look like a vampire. And there's some other things that I noticed about her from the beginning of our relationship. I'm going to make another video about that. Insects and animals that I would compare her to, they showed me it, okay? They showed the spiritual warfare of it all. To me, it was an incredible experience. I never wanted to see the demons. That might be the title of the other video, but I did get to see them this time. When I said to her, you look like a vampire, she recoiled, and she said, don't you call me that. And it was a weird reaction, not one that she would typically have. But you know what they say about a hit dog hollering? I thought, we've touched a nerve. And I wasn't trying to provoke her, but my angels had me up the whole time I was there, because I had to stay protected, because it was a very crushing and painful experience to me. What I will say here is that not only will the hit dogs holler, but if you are dealing with this kind of thing, what you sow, you shall reap. So empaths, if you think I've been so kind to this person, who is ever going to be this kind to me? Who's going to love me this way? That's something I cried out. I was like, who's going to love me the way I've loved this person? Well, the way I loved that person wasn't healthy. The way I loved that person was enabling. It was lack of accountability. I held her accountable like once last year, and she almost lost her mind, and then again this year, and that was it. I always knew she could never handle it. I always knew we'd crack and break. Why was it in a friendship that way? I will tell you, you have to know that you will reap goodness. What I sowed into her was endless love, pure love, ridiculousness, overabundance, overgiving, overdoing, over everything, a shoulder to cry on, someone to call me anytime, never judging. And I mean that. I have no judgments about her life or how she lived or anything. I think that there are great traits about her. I think she was a great mom. There are a lot of things that I liked about her. And I'm not going to lie to you here today. But what I realized is that I was doing 90% of the work and she was just receiving it. She was just receiving it. So what was sown back into me and has been since that has ended is love, abundance, purity, kindness, thoughtfulness. All of those energies, Alice, were sown back into my life from unexpected places. What did she sow into my life? Triangulation, lies, manipulation, deceit, deception, third-party relationships. She sowed all of that into my life. Gossip, all of that, right? And so even though she's in denial, as Christiane Northrup says, they know exactly what they're doing. She said she was oblivious. She had no idea. So even though she's in denial about what happened, I know that the universe is going to make sure she receives what she sowed into my life, but from someone who she's vulnerable with. See, I was vulnerable with her. You see how that works? But she will receive it. And I'm not wishing it on her. I think it is a check and balance. It's like the universe saying, oh, that didn't happen. You didn't do any of that. Well, the next year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, 3 weeks, when you start feeling the triangulation, the gossip, the disappointment, and you think you got someone in your clutches and you're pretty sure of yourself, the universe has a way of balancing it. And yes, narcissists can get their feelings hurt. I've seen them cry. I've seen them hurt. I've seen them be sad if they felt rejected. But the truth is, I don't know if they ever have the epiphany like I did. In it, I saw, oh, you allowed this, or you did this, or pay attention. I don't know if they have that. And as Dr. Christiane Northrup says, they do not have a moral compass or an internal dialogue the way that we or normal or healthy or balanced people do. I'm wishing you, Alice, so much luck in your recovery. Stay far away from these soul suckers because they will suck your soul. And I am not exempt from having my soul sucked. Or, can I be honest, having a payoff in it. Because the emotional, whatever I did get from her that was good, or the breadcrumbing, you know how they'll give you a little something? I was used to breadcrumbs. So there was a payoff. I want us empaths to be honest about that. Yes, these people are horrible and whatever, but what were you getting from the relationship that kept you there? I'm just saying, it might not be the popular opinion on these channels and in these conversations, but until you look at that, you will find yourself right with somebody else that is just like them, if not worse. And I want us to stay safe and stay whole and stay healing. Thank you so much for joining me today and listening to all of that. I know it's a lot. If you're an empath here and you've had that experience, comment below. I know you can relate. If you have never had that experience and you're interested in more videos, I'll connect some up here. And I want you to come back and continue to evolve with me as we evolve together.